I must walk to Auschwitz. I will have failed the biggest challenge of my life if I don't. Since my mid-teens, the concentration camp has possessed me. I have never understood why. Visiting it, as I had done on 5 occasions, hadn't provided answers. Might travelling to it the long way, by foot, confronting my own inner demons as I did so, unlock any light? Step by painful step, I thus decided to walk across Europe until I arrived in southeastern Poland, where Auschwitz and its string of subordinate camps lie just 200 kilometers short of the border with Ukraine. Auschwitz is the darkest example in history of intentional mass barbarity, the apex of evil and cruelty. Would I be hearing in the villages, towns and cities along my route yet more stories of man's inhumanity during the Nazi era, 1933 to 1945? In the 80 years since the war ended, have we heard enough, perhaps, about human depravity? Is a rebalancing needed? So I decided instead to unearth stories, if I could, of human goodness, compassion and courage along my trail. I wanted to be uplifted on my way by learning about men and women of honor who, at great risk, protected those deemed by the Nazis to be others. I craved not more tales of human darkness, though inevitably and for contrast my story would contain some, but human light. I am going to walk to Auschwitz in search of light. To create indeed a path of light across the heart of Europe to uplift others, perhaps even to lighten their darkness. To provide a different narrative to the light of despair of the Auschwitz crematoria, whose chimneys belched out burning human embers, illuminating even the darkest night skies between 1941 and 1945. I had already walked half the distance, task half done. During the second COVID summer 2021, I travelled by foot from Kilometre Zero, where the trenches of the First World War abruptly ended at the Swiss border, to Newport on the North Sea, where the front line began on the Belgian coast. That 1,000-kilometre walk, which took me 1 million steps through soil where 10 million fell, was designed to encourage a permanent path along no man's land that we called the Western Front Way, conceived originally in a British officer's letter I had discovered by chance when researching a book on the First World War. The soldier with the rousing vision, one of the most uplifting to emerge from the war, Douglas Gillespie, was killed shortly after writing it down. His letter then lay dormant for 100 years. I recounted the story of its discovery and the walk in The Path of Peace, published in 2022. One of the themes is that we are all affected today by the trauma of what happened in those 4 shattering years between 1914 and 1918. Though distant, the Great War's ghosts still linger. This present volume, focused on the Second World War, is a sequel. I would set out on this walk from the exact point, Kilometre Zero, where the first walk started, and where hostilities ceased when the First World War ended. My intention was to start out in the spring of 2023 and complete the walk before the weather turned, walking day by day east from Kilometre Zero till I arrived some 1,300 kilometers later at Auschwitz. But unlike that first walk, there was no former front line to follow, no line of villages détruits, destroyed villages, nor of vast cemeteries. Instead, I would walk east on as direct a path as possible. I had a vague idea of my travel: Basel, Freiburg, Ulm, Augsburg, Nuremberg, Flossenburg, Prague, and Krakow. But otherwise I did not know what fate had in store.